You're listening to the WBT Podcast with Michael Lodge. Listen to all of our podcasts at www.wbtpod.com. Stay informed. Let's get started.
And welcome to the WBT. This is Michael Lodge. Another day, another political Tuesday. So today, our conversation is going to be about politics. I know it's not going to be a fun subject, but I do it every Tuesday, so you're stuck with me. I'll be right back.
This is brought to you by Lodge & Co., a business and tax advisory firm where your success is our goal. Call us today toll-free at 888-681-1518 or visit us at www.lodge-co.com and learn more about what we can do for you. Lodge & Co., your source for sound business and tax services.
Do you know, the more and more that I listen and watch the impeachment hearings, the more and more I'm beginning to hate politicians. I tell you, what I saw yesterday in the impeachment hearing was, I tell you, it was disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. I saw an attorney who was a witness. He was a witness for the Democrats. And then he went up where all of the members of Congress were and began asking questions of the other witnesses that were also attorneys for the Republican side. How in the world can you be an attorney and a witness at the same time? I mean, it is so stupid. I'm seeing such dirty, rotten politics played by the Democrats on this, that it is incomprehensible as to why they're even in office. Honestly, they do not want to conduct a public hearing that is fair and just, that is within the rule of law, that supports the Constitution. Instead, what they do is they say that they're for the Constitution and they say they're protecting the Constitution, but then they attack the Constitution. There is nothing that has been fair and balanced or legally acceptable what the Democrats have done. Now, Adam Schiff was supposed to have gone there. I mean, he should have been there. He's the one that wrote. He's the one that wrote the report to Congress on impeachment. But instead, he sends his attorney, who happens to be a donor. Both of the attorneys for the Democratic side is a donor to the Democratic Party and for Democratic politicians. So we have this going on, and we see it, and it's blatant right before our eyes. We see this unfair, unjust, unconstitutional hearing going on, trying to impeach a president, trying to really overthrow. It's really a coup. So today, this morning, on Tuesday, they are supposed to be coming up with 2 articles of impeachment. I don't even care what articles they are because it's so ridiculous. You cannot have Congress overruling the rule of law. There's nothing legal, nothing just, nothing fair about what the Democrats are doing. And I think that you and I have to use some common sense here. Because this can boil down to where it trickles down to us when we get to court, and all of a sudden the rule of law is put to the side, and hearsay is acceptable, allegations are acceptable, but with no proof of anything. And that's what's happened within these hearings. Especially yesterday, it was so noticeable and so outlandish. But we have to also admit that we knew that this was coming, right? We knew on day one of the president's election that impeachment had already begun. They've been blatant about it. They have tried it several times. The individuals on the Democratic side have already voted to impeach the president. Those articles of impeachment have already been voted on, 2 or 3 times before. And they always voted for impeachment. So we knew it was coming. So we have to be honest with ourselves. Okay, we knew it was coming. We knew that this was not going to be a just hearing. We knew it wasn't going to be fair. So now we have to wait until all of this is done. In fact, I say, you know what, Democrats, go, hurry up. Hurry up, take it to the floor. Because I tell you, every yes vote that comes out of a Democratic mouth is going to be a bye-bye vote. In other words, bye-bye, you voted for impeachment, we're not voting you back in. Because we can no longer trust you. The American people have come to the point, and even some of the Democrats that I talk to on a daily basis said, this is nothing that they've ever seen before. And they're not going to vote for Democrats because of this. So when you've got Democrats who are liberal way out there saying, I'm not going to vote for any Democrat, you've got a problem. When a Democrat can no longer trust a Democrat, there is an issue. There are problems in the Democratic Party. And it's destroying the nation, and it's really destroying their party. We have seen this grow over time. You and I, we've seen the far left get stronger and stronger, and more vocal and more vocal, more violent. So we've seen it happening. We've seen it before our eyes. So you and I, we have to use our common sense and say, okay, what is right for the country? What is wrong for the country? And what the Democrats are doing at the moment is very wrong. Now, I'm not a Democrat, nor am I a Republican. I'm independent, and I feel that I'm centralized. I'm right in the middle there where I can see good points on one side, good points on the other side. Everybody has a good point at some point in time. Just not right now. There's nothing that I dread more but to hear a Democrat talk anymore. Because hate has filled their agenda so fast and quickly and so violently that it's now attacking the legal rights of every American in this nation. We have to be very careful about this. I tell you, politics is so dirty. And here I am. I'm thinking, I have, where I live in Palm Beach, the incumbent at the moment for the 20th district in Florida is Congressman Hastings. Now, he's a Democrat. Now, he has history, too. He has a history of being a federal judge who was impeached by the Senate. And then he ran for Congress and won. Now, he's in my district only because of redistricting. They came through and redistricted everything, and so now he covers Palm Beach. But we're at the situation where I wrote him a letter the other day. I said, you need to vote no on this. You need to vote no. His response back, no one's above the law. Well, he should know that because he was impeached. I think it was for bribery. I can't remember. But this is the issue. We have these individuals that are voting yes on this, but they're not listening to the people who they represent. Because this is a political issue of the Democrats and not a political issue of America. America sees issues such as health care and lower drug prices and infrastructure and building of roads and highways, commuting trains and buses, and the list goes on, of what the American feel is much higher priority than impeachment. Impeachment isn't even on the list of the top 10. That's how bad it is. So when you have impeachment happening in the Congress, and you have it only on one side, only Democrats are voting for this. No Republicans are voting for it, nor have they in the past. And then you have the majority of Americans saying, this isn't our priority. This isn't what we asked you to do. We asked you to do your job and take care of business for the nation, not to impeach a president. That's not going to be even impeachable when it gets over to the Senate. It's going to be kicked out. So it's worthless. This time and money, we've spent almost $100 million on this impeachment process. If you take the Mueller report and you take the impeachment process that has gone on for 3 years and all the time and effort and staff members and attorneys and investigative people that have been looking at this, it has cost us over $100 million. And so here we Americans sit here paying for something we never asked for. Our tax dollars paying for something we never asked for. Now, there were a few. There were some fringe people over on the leftist side of the Democrats who have a much bigger voice. Remember, the people who have the biggest voices are the ones who are in the wrong. And those are the individuals who sit there and moan and groan about America, but never contribute to making America even better. Instead, they pound on America. They hate America. They hate the police. They hate law enforcement. They hate American people for voting. We are in a big pile of doo-doo, people. This nation is in trouble. And it's time that you and I take it back. I mean, it really is. It's time for us to say, okay, enough of this. We have a vote coming up in November. And we're going to exercise our vote, and we're going to make some changes in Congress, and that's what we're going to do, because we're tired, we're frustrated, we're worn out of this political nonsense of Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats. Enough is enough. We're seeing too much corruption going on, unfairness, and we've seen it in the media also. Now, yesterday, I took the Inspector General's report. As soon as it came out, I saw it when it first came out, and I immediately downloaded it. And in fact, it's still on my computer screen here in my office. But I went through it page by page by page by page. And as I went through it, the report literally said that the FBI had problems. They abused the power of FISA. And they abused the documentation in the communication process of not telling the court that the documents that they were using was not right, was not clean enough. In other words, was not of quality to even be justified as using as documentation. And then were people who did take some FISA reports and doctor them up and submitted them. So I saw Comey on Twitter yesterday saying he was justified. Well, I hate to beg your pardon, Mr. Comey, but you're not justified because that was your FBI under your watch. And you signed off on 3 of those FISA reports that were not clean. And you used the FISA report, we thought originally that it was only on 2 people of the Trump administration or the Trump election team. And then we find out it was 4. Not just 2, but 4 people that they were watching and listening to. And the problem is that the FBI never went to the Trump administration to the Trump election team and say, listen, we feel that there's something wrong here, and we're following them, so we just want to let you know. No, they never notified the Trump team that was happening. In fact, what they did then is as the report shows, they went to meetings with the president and tried to glean even more information. There was a baiting the president on trying to get more information out of him on the Russia collusion issue. And of course, Mueller came out later in the report that said there was no collusion. But the Democrats still want to go back to that and say, yes, there was collusion. because it's a political point that they lost one time. Now they feel they can win a second time on, but it's not working. I think the American people have now seen that Russia and Ukraine and everything, they were all hooked together. They were all doing the same thing. They were trying to disrupt the election of the United States. And so we see that. We saw it in the report. As you read through it, you'll see that there was so much abuse going on. And it just didn't happen at the lower levels, but everybody knew about it up to the top level. And that is the problem. When you abuse your power in government to do harm to another individual that's running for president. So that goes through, if you read it page by page, this is how I normally read these reports. Okay, I kind of cheat. What I do is I read the opening statement, then I go to the back of the report and see what their conclusions were and what their suggestions were. And they had a lot of suggestions to the FBI of what needed to happen to clean up that system of FISA and reporting and everything else. And then once I see the conclusions of the investigation, I then go and start going page by page by page and beginning to read the complete detail of it. So I kind of cheat. But I tell you, when you're going through hundreds of pages, you cheat as much as you possibly can because there's a lot to read. But I went through page by page and I finally got through the end of it late last night. And you would be surprised at what you're seeing. And this is what I've told people so many times in my vlogs and in my podcasts, is don't go by what the media is telling you. I'm telling you, they're all trying to spin it a certain way. And especially don't go by what the politicians are telling you, because they're trying to spin it a certain way too. So you need to literally take some time. If you love America, you're going to take some time and use some common sense and go through these reports that are being said. That are being produced. Because there's a lot of information in there that you can glean that no one else is going to tell you. Certainly the politicians are not going to tell you, and certainly the media is not going to tell you. Fox has their own political agenda. CNN, MSNBC, and all the other networks out there, they have their own agenda, another agenda. So you have to be very careful about not being a participant in their agendas. And if you listen too long for them, at some point in time you're going to be a follower and you're not going to be a critical thinker and using some common sense and coming to your own conclusions on what goes on in government. These reports tell you a whole bunch of stuff. And it's stuff that you need to know and you need to understand how it was done. Now, Congress, I'm really beginning to wonder if Congress is that they have forgotten about the American people. Because in no way are they doing anything at the moment for the American people. Don't even believe them when they say they are, because they're not. Yeah, they've passed some bills, but those bills are so bad that there's no way that the Senate's going to pass them because they are so bad for America. So don't listen to all this nonsense of politicians saying, oh, we've done this and we've done that, we've passed this and we passed that. Listen, it's never going to go through the Senate because there's such bad bills. They're badly written bills. Well, we're at the point in this country where Americans like you and me, we need to be sitting down and we need to be going through all this stuff and then talking about it and making decisions on our own common sense, and then come to the conclusion of who stays in Congress and who leaves Congress. And I'm going to tell you that if you want to run for Congress at the moment, if you feel dedicated to Congress at the moment, if you feel that you can do much better than what's there at the moment, do it, run, because there's going to be a whole bunch of open seats that are going to be hit hard in this next election in November. because of that one vote that they're going to make, and that's going to be their yes vote. That yes vote is a goodbye vote. And that's we just have to understand that the American people have had enough. I have had enough. I have even, and I think I've said this before, the 20th district here in Florida is really up for grabs because of Hastings and his vote for yes. I am really thinking about running for that position, and it's not because I love politics that much, because I hate politics, but I really feel that I feel strongly that the American people are in trouble if we continue to keep politicians like Hastings and Pelosi and all these other people in office. We are never going to ever get anything done for this nation. We're just going to be sitting here circling and circling and spinning and not going anywhere because of politics. Dirty, rotten politics. So there's got to be more voices in Congress that are using common sense and listening to the people that they represent. They have to listen to the people that they represent. Otherwise, we have what I've always said, we have taxation without representation. And we're at that point at the moment, because Congress and Democratic members of Congress are not listening to the constituents, and they are telling them, stop impeachment, don't vote for impeachment, instead focus on what the needs of the country are: infrastructure, health care, Medicare, everything else that needs to be worked on. So that's the way that American people think, right? And that's how I think. So if you really feel that you can run for Congress and you feel strongly about representing the people in your districts, look at what district you're in. Stand up and do it. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still pondering it. I have until April before I really need to file. But I want you to really think about this, because you can make a difference. Even if you're running for local political office in your community, do it. Contribute back to the community that you live in. Put some effort into it. I do this podcast because I want to educate people about business and taxes and mediation and conflict and everything else that engulfs all life on a daily basis. And one of them is politics too. That's why I do this Political Tuesday. Now, I had stopped doing Political Tuesday for a long time because I thought I don't want to get involved in it anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm frustrated. But then the more and more I saw what was going on in Washington, D.C., which wasn't anything except impeachment at the moment, I said something has got to be done. So I began talking about it every single day. We need a better Congress. And it's time to clean house. If you have any questions or comments, send it to me via text at 818-252-5682, 818-252-5682. And I promise you, I will try and get back with you and answer any question. This is Mike Lodge for the WBT. Everyone go out and have a great day. It's Political Tuesday. Talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the WBT with Michael Lodge. Join us again tomorrow as we explore more about business and taxes. Follow us on iHeartRadio and go to our podcast website at www.wbtpod.com and listen to all of our podcasts and read our blogs.
This podcast has been produced by Michael Lodge, fully focused on content.